So this is my car. It's a 2007 Skoda Roomster and it's a beast of a car, but there's something that's missing. Let me show you. A must-have in all cars is a functional sound system, which it has, I just don't know for how long. Therefore, I started looking at car radios that I could potentially swap the original one with, since it's getting a little tired and old. Don't take me wrong, I mean, it works, it just takes half an hour to set it up, and once you've done all that and gone through the process, it doesn't deliver the best audio quality in the world. And you can probably hear that it stops like every now and then, and that's not the camera or the microphone. That's actually how it sounds. That's not even the worst part. Once you have decided that you don't want to listen to this horrible music and you decide to turn it off, there's an intense high-pitched noise in the background that just fills the whole car, driving every passenger crazy, and that means that you have to turn the radio off every time and then set it up again, and yeah, it's just an extreme hassle and it's not really worth it. On top of that, my phone doesn't even have an aux port. That means that I have to use a aftermarket Bluetooth device that I probably bought on AliExpress or something to connect my phone to, which just makes the entire process that much longer. So I really think that it's time for an upgrade, to say the least, and I was kind of considering buying a brand new one, but then I discovered that there were used ones for about half the price, so why not go take a look at those. When I had browsed the internet for best budget car radios in 2021, I more or less decided that it was time to give up and just settle for something that offered a Bluetooth connection. And even that's a big step up from what I got now. I mean, I have a way to connect via Bluetooth, but I wouldn't say that it works. And I don't really need the DAB function or the radio functions, since I mainly stream the music that I listen to from Spotify, so the Bluetooth connection is the most important part. And you have seen me use Finn in some of my other YouTube videos, and it's essentially a place where you can buy literally everything. It's like Facebook Marketplace, but more like filtered in a way, and a little more professional. So I like using this. So I then went on Finn and I searched for a cheap Bluetooth car radio, and I ended up going for the Pioneer MVH-X580. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, either way, it's got a Bluetooth connection, it's pretty simple, and it isn't like super ugly looking, so that's a bonus. And it's probably not going to match the car as good as the original radio, but the fact that it works is a lot more important than that it just looks good. So I have the car radio we just unboxed right here, and before we can set this in, we have to remove the old one. Don't know what this actually is, I just thought that it could work. Here's the old radio, and then this is the new one. Yeah, so with these probably have to how am I supposed to connect these onto there? Turns out that you need a adapter that allows you to connect the radio to the car, which I didn't know, but it makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. I also had to buy a frame to cover up the gap unless I wanted it to look like this. But fortunately it didn't take more than 2 days before the package arrived, so we can finally continue the installation. We're now back in the car again, and both the adapter and the frame has arrived, so it's time to continue the installation, and I'm hoping that it goes a little bit better than the first time around. So this is the adapter, and it looks like this part is going to connect to the car, and that these two are going to go into the radio. So this is the new car radio that we're putting in instead of this old one. And this should fit into the car like this. I'm going to be completely honest and say that this doesn't look that... Oh wait, this is supposed... this is gonna go over that again. Okay, now I understand. Now I understand, okay. I got scared for a second there, lad. That was almost the end of the world. As you probably can see, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure it out as I go, which doesn't look to be the best way to approach this. Okay, nice. We're actually getting somewhere. So like that, and this is probably supposed to go right in there. And then you can slowly lower it in. I don't know if this is correct, but it should look something like this. So the final thing to do is to actually find out if this car radio really works, and we just need to hook it up correctly and connect everything, and then we finally can see once everything is done, and hopefully the music experience is a lot better than the first one.
here's the power from the car radio, and we are trying to hook this up with the switch over here. Instead of it having power like all the time, even when the ignition is off, we try to connect it to this switch, so when this is off, the car radio also goes off. And we have now spliced, or like hooked, one of these cables onto the power, and then we're going to run that into this in the car radio, so we can turn it on and off using this switch.
Crimson secrets and forbidden bliss, can't stay still, don't stop that thrill. My bones crave your skin, temptation within, mistakes ignite the silence. Nightmares creep while you and me repeat this bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire.
The sound is a little flat, so I'm just trying to tune the equalizer so it sounds a little better. Simply just increase the bass. This is the perfect setting.
I see the light inside you, brighter than the skies. Hold on, just let us escape. Fly away tonight. We left the world in our sight, and I know together we'll be alright. Music forever we will go.
Comparing the price between buying used and buying brand new items, it becomes apparent that buying used is a lot more affordable. And the car radio that I bought in this video is a good example of that. It costed about half as much as a brand new one would, and that was really what I was considering at the start. And so far the car radio has performed way beyond my expectations for it, considering the price. It of course has some scratch marks here and there, but that's to be expected from a used unit like this one. But if looks isn't really your main concern, like scratch marks on a used unit, then you can save a lot of money buying second hand. I must say that I'm pretty impressed by the sound quality the speakers deliver. And if you compare it to the original setup, which was horrific, there's a massive difference. At first the music sounded a little too flat for my liking, but after tuning the EQ settings a little, I got it right on the sweet spot. And one of the best things about this new setup is that the background noise is completely gone. There's no hissing noise or static noise and cracks in the background. That is almost completely gone. That was probably the most irritating thing about the old radio. It came to the point that I didn't want to listen to music because of it. And it only needs a few seconds to connect to my phone wirelessly, which is incredible. And you also probably noticed that it was possible to change the color of the radio, just making it match the car a little. All in all, I'm very satisfied with the end result and the installation process. But there was one problem that I stumbled upon along the way, and that was connecting the radio to a power source or a voltage source that you could turn on and off. Because firstly I connected it to the power source of the old radio, and that was just connected directly to the battery, so it was not possible to turn the radio off and on, and that's not really optimal when it comes to a car, since you don't want to accidentally leave the radio on, draining the battery overnight, and then you won't be able to start it in the morning. So I just wanted a secure way to turn the radio off if I suddenly forgot it. So I ended up solving the problem by connecting the power on the radio to a switch on the left side of the steering wheel, which controls the power to the other lights in the car. And it's just super nice to not need to worry about turning the radio off and on, since you already turned the switch off once you leave the car. And if you were supposed to accidentally leave it on, it starts beeping, and yeah, it's really hard to leave it on by accident. Other than that, the installation process was pretty simple and straightforward. It just required some time and patience, as everything else does. But it was completely worth it, since I'm now being able to listen to good quality music in my car. And yeah, as always, thank you for watching this video.